to the Scott Lucas edition of the Red Hour. Yes, it's Monday, Martin Luther King Day, and we are back with you once again in the playoffs, heading toward that AFC Championship round. Let's introduce the fellas because we got a lot to talk about today. Fresh back from his stint at St. Elsewhere, radio man himself, cousin Darren Smith. How you feeling?
Doing pretty good. Got bragging rights today. How about them Saints? I mean, the Saints. I'm sorry. I forgot what happened last night, but I guess we'll talk about Saints Bucks in just a little bit. Yeah, I'm good.
I'll plug you from the IV, and this is the first thing you do.
Oh yeah.
Shame.
Right
on. He's in uniform now, but if you called him a few seconds ago, he wasn't because he's first off shooting some soft porn in his new studio there. DJ Q.
What's going on, man?
Are you shooting a remake to Little Shop of Horrors? What's going on behind you, brother?
No, it's a sequel to Boogie Nights.
Shoogie Nights. And as always, in the upper corner along with me is the professor of sports talk himself, nephew Steve Walls, Captain Wall Street. What's up, nephew?
What's up? I'm good. It is what it is. I take my lumps when I it's all good. That's all I gotta say.
I'm right there with you because that's the Super Bowl I wanted to see. But we'll get into the matchups of possibility here in just a second. The Chiefs continue to be very consistent. They're consistently winning, and they're consistently winning by frog's hair. Another game, super close. Chiefs 22, the Browns 17, but yet we prevail. We move on to that round where we are trying to keep that Lamar Hunt Trophy at one Arrowhead Drive, and this Sunday we'll take on the Buffalo Bills. It was another wild weekend of postseason football, and LeBron Jackson again proved that he's not worthy. I don't know what it is, but you can actually see it in his eyes in these playoff games. Like, you could see and feel the energy he had last week, and they won. And this week it just didn't feel the same. And now here we are again. The Baltimore Ravens, who were projected to do very well, out. Done. They get their first playoff victory under their belt, and then that's it. That's like all you can expect. So we'll start with you, Q, because he did take another bathroom run, but this time it wasn't because he had to poop. It was because of concussion protocol. So he had to come out of the game. But what do you think of the game that we had between the freaking, what are they, the Ravens and the Packers? I mean, not the Packers, the Ravens and the Bills.
Yeah, the Ravens and the Bills. No, I mean, they've just become too much of a one-dimensional team. It's tough from my view. It's tough for Lamar because he really doesn't have that number one receiver, that go get it receiver. I mean, you look at Snead. He's a guy coming from New Orleans. He was like three or four on the depth chart. And then you got young Hollywood Brown. Like, I don't think he has the weapons that he needs on the outside. The run game, I think they're fine, but again, it just makes them too one-dimensional.
Well, they weren't fine this time with the run. 14 for 24, one interception, no touchdowns. I mean, that score was horrendous for a team that was expected to go far into the playoffs. Yeah. It was 17-3, the Bills win, and no touchdowns at all for Lamar.
Yeah, none. And I expected it to be a really good game, but
statistically, Tyler Huntley actually had a better game, even though he wasn't in as long. He was 6 for 13 for 60 yards.
Yeah, he's just so one-dimensional. I mean, if he's not running the ball, you take away his run and make him be a passer. That's just not his game, and we've been talking about it. How he's listened to all the naysayers, tried to work on it in the offseason, but it's still coming to be ahead, right? And I think
how can you say that when we've seen him have balance with the pass and his run? We've seen it. We know he can do it.
He needs the weapons.
For whatever reason, when that playoffs come,
he just wants to. I think he just wants to take the game and do it himself. That could be it. And like you mentioned, when the playoffs come, that could be just the problem that he's having. He's like, I want to put the team on my back, and then I'm gonna do what works for me. And he just all of his passing just goes out the window, because I don't think he had a pass longer than 10 yards in that game. If
now,
let me
Darren,
know, but I don't think so.
can will you agree with me to equate him to the actual LeBron James at this point, who couldn't get a ring until he left and surrounded himself with superstars?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. I would say that one, because it's still too early in his career versus I think LeBron, when he left, it was year number 7. I think for Lamar, as both Q and Steve said, that he needs more weapons, but he's always, but he's, the problem that he ends up having is the fact that he doesn't throw the ball consistently. If the play calling is what it is, and it's got a lot to do with the weapons that are around him, and because of that, because he's had 5 touchdown passing games. I mean, I think he had it twice last season, and I think he had a big game this season where he passed the ball for like 3 or 4 touchdowns. So he can throw the ball, but in Saturday's game, a lot of it had to do with the wind, because if you notice, the Buffalo Bills had problems even at home, and with that wind that was blowing about 30, 40 miles an hour.
Man, look, no matter what, he's still just so inconsistent. We can just say that. He's just inconsistent.
I think that leans solely on his receiving core. I mean, who can you name that's had a big season for him the last 2 seasons? I mean, who's been consistent? Hollywood Brown definitely wasn't consistent last season.
No, he wasn't.
Exactly, because Hollywood Brown started off hot. Remember, first 2 or 3 games started off hot, and then he couldn't catch a pass to save his life. So, you look at the inconsistency and not even just having the depth that he has. Imagine giving him a Sammy Watkins and a Travis Kelce, just those 2, and he could definitely make.
No, I wouldn't. No, he neither wide receiver. His tight end and Mark Andrews is good. He just doesn't have he just doesn't have a wide receiver. And trust me, I wouldn't put Sammy Watkins on it because he can't stay healthy. But he does need a number 1 wide receiver.
No, and I'm just saying two more weapons. I'm not saying he doesn't need a Tyreek Hill to succeed. I'm just simply saying if you just give him 2 weapons that are reliable, and he can make things happen, but it turns into playing hero ball. And I wouldn't say that he's not built for hero ball. I would say that the NFL is not built for hero ball. And you even look at, in the case of Patrick Mahomes, like he can do it in the last drive, but for the whole game, he's spreading the ball around, and Lamar doesn't have that luxury.
But the difference between Lamar and Mahomes is, even if we are down, we can come back. Even if it's close, definitely. Mahomes still comes through with the finish. So I don't know if you can put Patrick Mahomes in the no hero ball category, because he wills his team back into it and finds a way to make it happen somehow.
Yes.
Some way.
No, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying at the end of the game. Like if Patrick has to come in the last couple of drives, last 7 minutes of the game, and they're down 10 points, like he can make some things happen and make them happen quick. Whereas Lamar is pretty much playing hero ball the whole game. And especially when he's playing from behind, and like this week, only scoring 3 points, and he's trying to make whatever happen. And that's when you go to trying to hit the home run balls and really try to extend plays and just use your athleticism. But he can't do that because he doesn't have the help. And I like your analogy of LeBron.
Yeah, and I agree with to answer Sean's question. I really believe that he's already looking to run, and that's his first option. His first option is, all right, I'm going to take off and run. And his second option is, all right, survey the land, see what I got. If the run's not open, then I'm going to look to pass. Whereas you look at these other quarterbacks, they're going to, step up in the pocket. Patrick Mahomes forced out of the pocket, and he's looking to pass instead of his first option being to run.
All right, so another big game that everyone was looking forward to this past weekend was the Old Timers Bowl between the Buccaneers and New Orleans Saints. We see now that Tom Brady is headed toward another conference round, 30-20 over New Orleans. Will this be Drew Brees' last hurrah? Is he done?
That's what Jay Glazer reported before the game.
Yeah, I really think he's done.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of convincing to get him to come back next year. Even though they have the pieces, and I'm really feeling like I do believe that he didn't want to retire last year because the Saints were interested in Tom Brady, and he didn't want Tom to take over his team and go win a championship. So, I think this is going to be his last run.
See, but the biggest problem is he fell off a cliff. He literally descended because he could throw no deep balls. When he came back from injury against the Kansas City Chiefs, he could not get the ball down the field. Steve and I, we talked about it yesterday, and I know Steve said that he felt that they had the more talented team, which I didn't think that was the case because Michael Thomas hadn't done much at all this season because he had been too injured. And then, as you saw in yesterday's game, I think he targeted him 4 times, and all 4 times, he couldn't come up with a catch yesterday. So, I mean, there was a lot in there, but he's through. I mean, just physically, he can't. He couldn't do anything. Yeah. And the thing that's disappointing is because Sean Payton was loyal to Drew Brees, instead of thinking about how to best win this game and pulling them and having Jameis Winston out there, we could throw the ball down the field. He stayed with Drew Brees, and that cost him the ball game.
And the thing is, Drew Brees was fine earlier in the season. He was fine earlier in the season. Yeah. I think it went all downhill when the rib injury, and I still don't think he's healthy.
No.
I'll say watching that game that I don't think that Sean Payton or the offensive coordinator for the Saints adjusted their play calling to what they have in the Drew Brees now. Because it seemed like they kept trying to force an issue, and it just wasn't going to happen. And instead of doing what they needed to do to win the game by either bringing in Jameis Winston or creating some other plays where they could inch their way down and take control of the ball and control the clock and all of that, they just didn't do any of that. They kept trying to make Drew Brees of old, and I think that cost them the game.
Well, and like I said, I mean, if you look at it, the only offensive touchdown that they really scored was a trickery play by Jameis Winston, and it was like, and him throwing the ball down the field, you saw, okay, somebody can push the ball down the field. But Drew Brees, what the furthest, I can't even remember what the furthest he threw the ball, but it wasn't that far at all. And then, of course, I mean, he can never connect. He missed Alvin Kamara going up the seam, and then he's throwing passes behind their receivers. And then, of course, his receivers, the big tight end, number 87, catches the ball, and then it's instead of trying to protect it, he has it on the wrong side where Tampa Bay knocks it out. I mean, so there was a collective amount of issues that that New Orleans had yesterday, and I just cannot understand why somebody would think they would be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl.
The beginning of the season, like I said, before he was injured, that team looked like they were rolling. I mean, Alvin Kamara was playing great. Michael Thomas was playing. I mean, you had the whole squad that were clicking on all cylinders. And I think Emmanuel Sanders, it took him a while to kind of kick it in gear, but and then Taysom Hill, I think they really missed Taysom Hill yesterday. He's a do-it-all guy, and so when you don't have him in the mix, it's just here's the thing about yesterday's game. We've seen it throughout this year's playoffs. If you make turnovers, it's going to cost you the game. Anytime a team, we've seen it with Tennessee, we saw it with all these other teams. When they make costly turnovers, it loses the game, and we saw it with the Steelers. They made those 5 turnovers.
Drew Brees' ego. Yesterday's game was all about Drew Brees' ego because, to your point, Steve, he was never healthy coming back from that.
I agree.
But Taysom Hill was 4-1, and of course that was when Kansas City came in. Drew Brees' ego, because like you said, he's going to be leaving at the end of the season. He could not see himself going out without facing Patrick Mahomes. And so, and now he had a decent game, but the Chiefs were already, kind of like far ahead before they kind of came back and made it a ball game. But, but to that point, Taysom Hill had been playing. I mean, he had been playing well, but Brees' ego was as such where I got to get in. I got to, I got to go ahead and do this drive, this drive to the Super Bowl so I can get credit, because he didn't want to be like Carson Wentz, where your backup quarterback leads the team to a Super Bowl, and he's just along for the ride.
Yeah. And this is not a scrubby team. For the past few seasons, this team has had a great winning season. They get into the playoffs, and for the most part, a lot of analysts have them going to the Super Bowl, and then it's crash and burn.
Yeah. And generally, the team that they end up facing ends up, losing to, sometimes end up being the team that, represents.
Yeah.
I know outside of Minnesota.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Absolutely. So the Green Bay Rams game, Green Bay Packers 32, Rams 18. That looked like a scrimmage game for the Green Bay Packers. Like, let us practice for the Super Bowl on you guys real quick. That was a ridiculous game. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
I didn't expect to see a game like that this far in the divisional round.
I'm gonna be honest. I just think it was the fact that the Rams just couldn't really move the ball on offense. I mean, the defense. I know, so it looks after the fact they gave them almost 500 yards, but when the offense can't move the ball, the defense stays out there on the field. I mean, because they were getting stops, but but if your offense can't come, if your offense is trading a field goal to a touchdown, and then of course, if by chance you make a stand and you give them good field position and they still can't do anything with it, there's only so much Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and them can do because
exactly. Aaron Donald being injured with those another rib injury. It just he couldn't do it, and he tried to go out there, and I commend him for that, but he really didn't have it yesterday. He was just out there.
Yeah.
So this is just another chance to promote Aaron Rodgers for MVP.
Yeah.
It's
making his case.
Well, here's the thing, man. Aaron Rodgers, he talked about earlier this year where he felt like he should have won some MVPs in the past and lost out. You can have the MVP. The MVP that people care about the most, that's Super Bowl MVP. So if Pat gets that, then you can have all the regular season MVPs you want. Because Peyton Manning got about 5 of them, but he's only got 2 Super Bowls.
All right, we talked about the Ravens game, but we did not talk about Josh Allen because that is the team we'll face in this conference round. The Chiefs and the Bills will go in the late game on Sunday at 5:40 Eastern time, and the Bucs and the Packers will go at 2:05 Eastern time this Sunday. Josh Allen, 23 for 37, 206 yards, and a touchdown. When last week we were kind of tossed up, do we want to see the Ravens? Do we want to see the Bills? The more that I see these Bills, the more that I see the hype, but I still see a team that is beatable by the Chiefs.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think they're beatable in the same fashion that the Browns were beatable. And I just don't know if Josh Allen has it to beat Patrick Mahomes. In the same breath, I will never think Baker Mayfield is a championship quarterback that can beat Patrick Mahomes. Like that, they are quarterbacks that, of course, when the team is playing hot, yes, they can get hot. But I don't think they are guys like Lamar Jackson that can be almost like a fire starter, a Tyreek Hill that can get things going and almost give like that sixth man energy that, you see in basketball, and guys coming off the bench and really giving that spark. And I don't think those two guys are that.
I talked a little bit about
Patrick Mahomes.
I talked a little bit about it with Darren yesterday, and I really believe that Stephon Diggs, other than Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay, I really believe that's one of the biggest additions to a team that's helped him.
Yes.
Is Stephon Diggs going to Buffalo, because their chemistry between Josh Allen and Diggs. I mean, Josh Allen really didn't hurt them in the air yesterday, although Stephon Diggs did have 106 yards. Josh Allen still only had one touchdown pass, and was only 23 for 37. So I really believe he has to play a much better game to be
much better
in Arrowhead, especially.
Here's my question to the panel: is the Bills' success more so on the heels, or the legs, or the hands of of Diggs, Stephon Diggs, Teflon Stephon, or is it Josh Allen?
Well, you can't
Josh
do
Allen.
that together. I mean, but I'd be more inclined to say Stephon Diggs because he's helped make Josh Allen a better quarterback.
Yes.
Plus, look, he's led the league in touchdowns. He led the league in receiving yards. I think Stephon Diggs, it would be the MVP on that particular team with Buffalo, even though Josh Allen's getting on the headlines. But I think his addition has made Josh Allen a better quarterback. Plus, because I think it's his second year there, you allow Cole Beasley to be, to be that quote unquote Travis Kelce to Stephon Diggs role of Tyreek Hill. So I think that addition is very.
But it's kind of like if you want to compare it to the Chiefs, it's kind of like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill opens up everything else.
Yes.
For everybody,
yes.
And I really feel like that's why he, like Darren said, has made Josh Allen a better quarterback.
Yeah, and I think I think their success is going to rely on a Josh Allen. Yes, Stephon Diggs, but even when we look at when the Chiefs played them earlier in the season, Josh Allen couldn't even get the ball to Stephon Diggs, and he wasn't effective at all. So to answer the question, that the success of the team, yes, is going to rely on Josh Allen because he is the quarterback, and he is a quarterback in the passing league.
We didn't get a healthy Stephon Diggs either that game.
Yeah.
No, definitely, but he's still,
I think.
But still, Josh Allen was super inaccurate that game.
The Diggs, Beasley, Allen trio coming in to Arrowhead this Sunday with the confidence that they have. Do you think that it's more so of a false confidence coming up against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs?
No, I think they've been rolling. I really believe they've been playing good football. So this confidence, it's going to be a good game, and I don't want to dive too much into it, but I really feel like they're going to come in with a point to prove. But we said it before. We've said it before. These young quarterbacks who want to come in and try to beat Patrick Mahomes, they're going to try to do whatever they can do and play outside of themselves, which is what I think that Josh Allen had did in the first game. Try to play outside of himself, and it's going to cost. We talked about turnovers. It's going to cost him a significant turnover, and that's what's going to make the game.
But if you all remember, this is going to be a different ball game altogether because when the Chiefs played them in Buffalo, they ran the football. They ran it for 245 yards. Patrick only threw for 220 plus yards, but he had 2 touchdowns, but no interceptions. But Patrick in that game was secure enough and just handing the ball off to Edwards-Helaire. I think that's where he had his most yardage. I think he had like 161 yards in that ball game, and so they had control of the clock. They had so you put them on the back burner, on the heels to where, the team was up 13. Well, I think they were up 13-10 and never really looked back. What they're going to do when they come to Kansas City, they're going to be in a situation where they're going to try to, jump on the Chiefs quick because one, you don't know what Patrick's going to look like when he, when he comes into the ball game. So you don't even want to take a chance. You don't even want the Chiefs having the ball first. You want to put them on the heels. I'm sorry, I'm probably giving stuff away,
No. Which is you mentioned that, but which is crazy that the Browns gave the Chiefs the ball first.
Yeah,
why would you go and do that? Like, I mean, come on, man. You don't do that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and I think that shows their confidence.
They went right to the end zone.
Yeah, and but I think that shows their confidence that they had in their defense, and they kind of wanted to show that again. We keep talking about these teams needing to prove that they are. It's like the little brother, big brother syndrome. The Chiefs are definitely the big brother in the AFC now, and a lot of these teams, yes, they're trying to play outside of themselves. They're trying to play all these games to psych themselves up to play against this team. And when you're playing against a team that's having so much fun and all that, you want them to get the ball first so I can punch them in the mouth. But then you still have to punch them in the mouth. And they didn't do that at all.
Well, the thing is, it's going to be key for Kansas City to make sure that, because this is their third year in a row being in the AFC Championship game, that they use that experience against, and utilize that against a team that hasn't been in the playoffs this far in since 1990-93. So,
He said,
And with that being said, not only are we playing in the AFC Championship again for the third straight year, we're hosting it for the third straight year, which is another NFL record that the Chiefs just continue to chop their way through. It's been a record-breaking year for these guys yet again. On Sunday, though, the Chiefs, we had a scare of our own. Patrick Mahomes, 21 for 30, attempts 255 yards and a touchdown. Then he gets this ugly hit. And when we saw him wobble to his feet and his eyes rolling in the back of his head, and all I could think about was those Tom and Jerry cartoons when the dog gets hit with a bat and he, which way did they go? And it looked really bad. And then you see him go to the tent for the second time in the game, and then later on they showed him running off through the tunnel. So you see that he's got his sense back about him, but we still didn't know the extent of the injury. And we'll let Q expound on this because he's been going off on social media all day. He's thinking that it's an NFL ploy. There's no way that the NFL is going to let the Golden Boy sit out this game coming this week, regardless of what's going on with his concussion protocol. So, Q, the floor is yours.
I mean, at what part of the season were certain teams allowed to like extend their games another day or two, delay these games? And then some teams were like, no, you just got to play with your quarterback you just brought off of the street just yesterday. Like, of course the NFL is biased on certain teams and who's going to sell tickets. I mean, are we not in a pandemic where the NFL has lost the most amount of money that they've ever lost, like ever? Like, yes, they definitely want certain players to play in certain games, and we can play Andy Reid's explanation of what went on. No, we saw him crash into the ground head first. We saw that. Like, we can't dispute that. We saw him crash into the ground head first and then get up with wobbly knees. Now, I know he's trying to peddle he got the wind knocked out of him. But when did he get the wind knocked out of him? Like, on what play? Because it wasn't the play that he got the concussion. So, yeah. And you know what? Yes. He's all right.
Yeah, but his head never did make contact.
Before we respond to Q, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a little bit. When we come back, we're all going to take a shot of Henny, and we'll talk about the upcoming matchup this weekend as we get ready for the conference championship games here in the NFL. So stick around. We'll be back with the Red Hour in just a moment. If the homies can't have done. We had a homie invited into the game on Sunday, even though we would have preferred to keep the host there. We'll talk about that here right now. When Patrick Mahomes went down, Chad Henne came into the game, and we got to see Chad Henne in the last game of the season, thankfully, which gave him a little chance to warm up to playing some real-time NFL football, which paid off this Sunday with the win against the Cleveland Browns, because Chad Henne came in 6 for 8, 66 yards, 1 interception, but poured a little Henne on it. He had that 14-yard run and got us to where we need to be, and then some cocky play calling by none other than Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. That was a good play. 'Cause
Yeah.
Mike Kafka on that interception. I didn't put that on EB.
Well, we're not talking about that throw because he did just. You looked at that throw like, why?
Yeah,
What are you doing?
he threw that. I was wondering. I'm like, what is going through his head? He's letting it fly. Like, come on, man.
That was a Hail Mary throw because Patrick was somebody who can throw that ball strategically. They've got that look in their eye and they throw the ball. Chad just went.
Yeah, it was no patience in that throw at all. Because you saw Demarcus Robinson had his back turned, still running to the spot. Tyreek Hill was coming across the field, and it was like, man, dude just had enough time to sit there, like, all right.
Yeah, hold on, and he's back there, like, okay,
like, Chris.
It was like the worst game of hot potato ever, but Chad Henne did make up for it. He got us half a yard away from the first down, and then what looked like they were waiting to draw the Browns offside because the Chiefs were just standing around patiently waiting. Even though Chad was standing back in shotgun, the whole world was like, there's no way he's going to let this dude throw that ball again. And then, here we go. Just a little dump pass off to Tyreek Hill for a few yards, and the game's over with.
And that's their bread and butter play. I mean, every quarterback knows that. I'm sure their right guard can run that play from the quarterback position.
Absolutely, but in that situation,
definitely.
With the game on the line,
and Andy Reid post game,
and you're half a yard away in fourth.
Andy Reid post game called it the intestinal fortitude.
Yeah.
So, but what I've written in all seriousness, though, I really believe that Andy winning the Super Bowl last year, he didn't play this game to lose. He went out there and did what he needed to do to win the game. Mm-hmm. Without winning last season, I really believe he would have played this game not to lose, right? Because it would have been so conservative. Okay, we're just going to try to get the first down, hand the ball off to the running back, and then go forth. And if we don't get it, we're going to let our defense, or possibly punt the ball and then let our defense, let them start from the 10 or the 20-yard line. So I really commend Andy Reid for, using the intestinal fortitude and making it happen.
I commend Andy, but I'm going to say this. It never should have came down, because if Harrison Butker makes that extra point that field goal earlier, we're not even having this conversation.
But then again, I thought you were going to say, because that's one of those plays where, like, just give it to the running back, and you got an inch, give it to the running back and let him get it. So it's still one of those plays where, and you've been talking about it all season, Darren, give it to the running back and let him get that 1 yard. Why can't we do that? And then they go and get it, and nobody's saying anything.
That's Le'Veon Bell's wheelhouse.
Yeah, they get it. So if they don't get it, everybody's like, well, why they didn't just give it to the running back?
Well, that particular play, look, I was shocked that they didn't have Williams back there, because I was like 4th and inches, but yeah. Look, I'm still beauty of the 4 points that we lost earlier in the ball game, because if we hit those 4 points, we're not in the situation. We got a 9-point lead. That's the whole.
Here's the beauty of an Andy Reid special play. The next day, if it works, it's brilliant play call. If it doesn't work, it's typical Andy Reid not putting his foot on the gas. You're always 50% here, 50% there with the Andy Reid call.
Look, I've talked about it the past couple of seasons. It's no winning with you guys.
No. Here's the thing: people don't have a problem with Andy Reid if a play doesn't work. They want to know that you're at least aggressive enough that you will attempt it versus, as Steve mentioned before, just being conservative. Let's sit on it. Let's punt it. Let's not take a chance and trying to go for the kill, go for the win. So
Andy Reid these classic trick plays, and if it works, it's Andy Reid.
He's contradicting himself though.
No, I'm
He's
not.
contradicting himself, because the pass to Patrick Mahomes from Travis Kelce on the 1 yard line.
No. Hell to the no. Because I'm consistent. No, what I said, no. You trying to be too cute, because look, first quarter.
Cute or aggressive?
No. First quarter, calling the play. To Travis Kelce to Patrick Mahomes when you're not up like that. That's one thing. This is at the end of a ball game. Are you going to be conservative, or are you going to try to go for a win? It's a difference, Steve. It's play calling, and it's when you call. No.
It's
You
aggressive.
ain't
I'll
getting me
call
on
that
that one,
aggressive.
bro. You
I
ain't
call
getting me
that
on that one.
aggressive. That's aggressive.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah.
hold on. That's not aggressive, Steve. Hold on. What is aggressive trying to throw a touchdown pass to a $500 million quarterback? What's aggressive about that? Because if he gets hurt, then what? What's aggressive about that?
And
That's stupidity. That's stupid.
And even asking for Andy Reid to be aggressive at all times is making him one-dimensional. It's the same thing we talk about with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and their offense just being so one-dimensional. Andy Reid is not always aggressive. Yes, that's not a bad thing. Andy Reid likes to play the numbers sometimes, and then sometimes he likes to be aggressive. But I don't think he always needs to be aggressive. I think he did exactly what was supposed to be done yesterday. They loaded the box, and you definitely have running backs that you aren't confident in, clearly, and especially at that point in the game. But I think that's smaller than Andy Reid just trying to do something different than what's expected. It was the same thing with the Seahawks at the end of the game with Russell Wilson and not handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. Is just trying to do something that the defense doesn't expect. And yes, clearly defenses don't know that play is the Chiefs' bread and butter when they need 3 yards. And they go to that so much throughout the season, and teams just forget it because they don't use it in such crucial spots, but they'll use it when they just need 3 or 4 yards.
And that was the difference maker right there.
Yeah.
That it was a crucial moment where you weren't expecting to see that play come about.
Exactly.
And that's what makes a difference. Okay, so we got the conference games coming up this weekend, the conference championship games coming up this weekend, and we thought we had the Old Folks Bowl last weekend. We had Shady Rest Part 2 in this conference round with the Bucs and the Green Bay Packers. Just to go over some of the numbers from the guys from this weekend's game, Aaron Rodgers was 23 for 36 attempts, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tom Brady, 18 for 33, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, this is a Bucs team who is still seems like they're getting used to Tom Brady. And we saw it yesterday where there were some plays that didn't quite work out, and Tom was frustrated because his guys weren't where they needed to be when they were supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
They can't afford that against Aaron Rodgers and this Green Bay Packers team this weekend. So my question to you, Darren, do we get Tom Brady who can lead this team over the Green Bay Packers, or is this just destined to be Aaron Rodgers' complete year? He gets the MVP for the league and he goes to the Super Bowl.
No, I think Tom Brady does what he did yesterday in New Orleans, where the defense steps up, they make plays, they give the team good field position, and he doesn't have to go in thinking he needs to throw for 300 or 400 yards to win the ball game. If he can manage the game and do what he did yesterday and getting the ball methodically down the field, and then of course you get in the red zone and you utilize Roe Jones or you utilize Leonard Fournette, and then you hit Mike Evans or I mean he's got enough weapons to where you don't have to be greedy, and you don't have to, because what he was able to do yesterday, he was able to methodically down the field. Now, he threw the ball down the field 4 times, and each time the ball hit the receiver's hands, but they just couldn't come up with it. So Tom Brady did what he was supposed to do. If the receivers, maybe Gronk, maybe if 3 years ago, he probably makes the play. Godwin, and I don't know what happened with Antonio Brown. I think he left in the second quarter yesterday not to come back, so I'm not sure what happened with him. But if they continue, if they do what they did yesterday, which again, you're in a dome versus being outside, you don't know what the weather's going to be. I still believe that Brady can lead this team to a victory like they did earlier in the season.
Definitely.
Yeah, I still think
it's cold in Green Bay this weekend.
Yeah, those chemistry issues, they're going to at some point, and we've seen it. They're coming to a head, Darren. And I told you this yesterday. It's like
they won the last 7 ball games, Steve. I mean,
you're scoring 3 points. You're not going to be able to trade field goals.
Green Bay Packers in the last 7 ball games.
You're not going to be able to trade field goals and touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers is clicking on all cylinders right now.
They scored 30
points. I'm talking about in the first half of the game. They weren't scoring like that. The score was low.
That's good. That's because they have a good. Their defense showed up and played yesterday. So I mean, you can't blame the Bucks defense for keeping the Saints out of there. I mean, look, to your point.
I'm talking about the Tampa Bay offense. The Tampa Bay offense can come out to score 6 points in the first half and think that you're going to win the game. That's not going to happen.
No, I get that, but hold on, but just like you said, how talented that Saints team was, they couldn't get in the end zone either, Steve. I mean, they.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying. The Packers aren't that way. The Packers are going to come out. Aaron Rodgers is going to come out flinging the ball. That's just what he does. He's not going to come out and score 6 points in the first half. That's just not going to happen.
We agree or disagree on that.
And this is the rested Aaron Rodgers. This is a team that's clicking on all cylinders. This is a team who loves to play in that Green Bay weather, and it's going to be super cold. You've got an old Tom Brady at 43 going into a cold atmosphere with a team who is slowly getting into the Tom Brady mode. But you said it yourself. Tom Brady put the ball where it needed to be. The receivers didn't do what they needed to do on their end. If that happens tomorrow, they're not playing New Orleans. They're playing the Green Bay Packers, and the Packers are not going to let up.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And then,
to close that down quick.
Yeah, okay. And if the elements do
play, but the last time these two teams played, I think Aaron Rodgers jumped out to a 10-0 lead, and then what did he do? He got greedy on 3rd and 10 to Devontae Adams, and next thing you know, Tampa Bay picks them and gets them back into the ballgame. Hey, look, again, they played the Rams last week, whose quarterback had a fractured thumb, who couldn't get the ball down the field. Tom Brady can get the ball down the field. I mean, this thing about chemistry, they won, I believe, like I said, their last 7 ball games. So they got enough chemistry to where they've been winning games, against
definitely
all manners of teams. So they can go on the Lambeau Field and win this game.
And I think that's a huge advantage that they do have, because we've seen this Packers team before in years previous, when they've played well and then they played really bad. And now that they're playing hot, when you face a scrappy team like this, you've got to consistently play hot. And we haven't always seen that from him. And from them. And especially from Devontae Adams. Like, yes, this year he's obviously taken a step up this year, but again, it's the playoffs. It's a game. It's the NFC Championship game, and some players don't always meet the requirements. The clutch requirements that it is to win that game. And I feel like Tom Brady has it, and it's really tough to beat him because he's scrappy, and that it rubs off on other players, and the talent level he has, good luck slowing them down.
And let me say this, because I said 7. They've won 6 games since they lost to the Chiefs. But but you all talking about scoring against Minneapolis. Their last, on their 6-game winning streak, they've scored 26 points, 31, 47, 44, 31, 30. They can get the ball. They can score. They can go score for score against the Packers. So whether it's a high scoring game or a low scoring game, they can go either way. So
you're saying the same thing that I've been saying to Steve, because Steve wants everyone to believe that Tom Brady is washed and he's a noodle arm and all of this. But now Steve has look.
Steve just don't want my Super Bowl pick. Chiefs coming to fruition.
But Darren's making it seem like they going out there playing the Rams when Aaron Donald is balling and scoring at 30 points. They were playing. You look at the teams that they played. They played the Falcons, the Lions. They played the Falcons twice. The Lions.
Steve, are you serious?
Come on, man. Nah. I'm not giving you that. But
hold on. The same Falcons team that gave up 20-some points in the second half and lost. You know what I'm saying? It's the same Falcons team that came to Kansas City and took them down to the wire. Come on, dude. Don't try to use the Falcons.
You can't use the Chiefs on that though.
These are some of the oldest quarterbacks left playing right now in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. The difference is, as good as Tom Brady is, and what he's done for the Bucs is tremendous. But Aaron Rodgers is in the middle of an MVP season.
Definitely,
late in his career.
Definitely, and you hope the players around him.
You want to, but you got to look at the facts.
And you hope the players around him don't succumb to the pressure.
Right.
I guess. I mean, I kill him because you're sitting there talking about stats and what he's doing. Brady was top 3. I'm sorry, he was top 3 in passing. He was top 3 in touchdown passes. I mean, mind you now, this is an offense that Aaron Rodgers has been in for the last couple of years. Brady leaves from his offense of 20 years, goes down to Tampa Bay, takes a team that was 7-9, takes them to where they are right now. This is the same Green Bay team that was in the NFC Championship game last year at a 13-3 record.
And that's what I'm saying.
And they lost it. So Aaron Rodgers can go on this resurgence, and that's just because Patrick Mahomes gave the MVP away versus versus Aaron Rodgers winning it. So let's put some context on this now, because y'all making it seem like the Packers are going to blow this team out, because that's not the case. That's not happening.
And how many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers lose to Russell Wilson? So
here's the thing about that.
Because last I checked, he had a bad championship game last year, Steve.
You're right. And here's the thing. I really believe that he's to the point now where it's like, man, I'm not going out like I did.
He's fed up.
And so you can tell with his body language, with his play, he's just not. It's not happening. And I'm not sitting up here saying that Tom Brady, their team is good. They're not. I'm not saying that they're not capable of winning the game, but it's just those, you see the passes, you see the misses that Tom Brady's having, and it's all chemistry issues. We talked about it yesterday, and you agreed, Darren. It's like when they brought in Antonio Brown to the mix, it seemed like it kind of just messed up a lot of the stuff that they had going. I mean, from the beginning of the season, they brought him in week 8, and it seemed like it just kind of threw him off a little bit, and it might get hurt.
Yeah, and that's just timing.
And for the record, I'm not saying that the Packers are about to blow out the Bucs. But as you say, let's put it in context. This is Tom Brady with a very new team, a very new coaching staff, even though they're adding some elements because they've worked together before, and they're adding some Brady
AFC Championship game. They're one game away from the Super Bowl. I'm saying,
you weren't talking this talk a week ago. Your team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, win, and they win against the New Orleans Saints, so they have a chance for the Super Bowl now. And now it's like, oh, all right, well, maybe what I've been thinking is correct now. So
hold on.
You can say that. You can say that's
no. First of all, I would have been talking this talk last week, but you all wanted me not on the show. So let's keep it in perspective, because you're the one at the beginning of the season. You all were all Saints this, Saints that. When they beat the Bucs twice this season, I had to hear your mouth. I had to go and take my lumps. Now take your lumps like a man, because you lost when it counted most. Okay, so.
I said that.
I want you to have the same energy next Monday.
Hold on. And I want y'all to have the same energy too if they pull it off. If they pull it off, you make sure y'all have that same energy too.
Hey, can we talk about?
Because
go ahead. I was gonna say, can we talk about how terrible the Browns offense was yesterday? Like, I would like to.
Shout out to Kareem Hunt with the touchdown, though.
Yeah, and he probably could have had. He probably could have had 2 had he had more, at least a touch in the first half. They ran the ball 6 times in the first half, and one of them was Baker Mayfield. Like, geez, Louise.
Unfortunately, Q, we can't spend any more times on your Browns. We gotta talk about this Chiefs Bills matchup before we get out of here. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Citing Patrick Mahomes plays next week, but according to Q, he's absolutely playing next week, even if they have to wheel him out there and then push him. This game is probably going to be the most talked about game of the weekend because it is Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes is going to have to show glimpses of last season's Patrick Mahomes to get past this Josh Allen. Yes or no?
No, I don't think so. I really don't. You look at how the team was playing yesterday. Even when Patrick went down, they didn't miss a beat. And even when Patrick wasn't playing his best over these past, let's just say 4 weeks, the Chiefs, they were still able to come out with the win. And I don't feel like put it to you this way: if Josh Allen and if they're able to stop Stephon Diggs and that's their main focal point, I really don't feel like that Josh Allen. People talk about Cole Beasley. Yes, he's good, but I don't feel like that's enough firepower to keep up with the Chiefs.
That's my next line of questioning, and it goes to you, Darren. This Chiefs defense. Last year, they sucked most of the season, and then they came through toward the end and through the playoffs. They've been very inconsistent this entire season, but they seem to step up when they need to step up. Stephon Diggs, will they be able to shut him down?
Shut him down, no. But will they be able to limit his what he does in the game? Yes.
No.
The question is going to be, how will they utilize? How will they go after Josh Allen? Because as we've seen, they don't feel like they have a strong enough running game. So you're going to get a lot of Josh Allen. He's going to be pressing against that defense and trying to get them on their back heels. So to me, again, kind of like as Steve and I talked about yesterday, it's going to have to start with the line of scrimmage. We have got we didn't hear his name till late in the fourth quarter, but this has got to be a big game for Chris Jones and Frank Clark. If we're not hearing their names called in those first three quarters, then it's going to be a long day for the Kansas City Chiefs. And like I said, Diggs is going to get his get his catches, and he'll even get a touchdown, I believe. But but I don't think it's going to be a case where he's going to be the one to beat us, because Josh Allen only has so many weapons, and it's just a matter of how will the Chiefs and how does Steve Spagnuolo devise a game plan for this game. And look, if you I would say mirror what you did in Buffalo. But I know it's not going to work. I just know it's not going to work that way. So at the end of the day, look, Diggs is going to get his, but I think Diggs still gets like maybe 6 to 8 catches, but he may get one touchdown, but like 80-some yards. I don't think he's like that big of a factor in the ball game. Depending on how Steve Spagnuolo calls that defense. But if you don't hear Chris Jones or Frank Clark's name called early on, that's a problem.
So I was saying we're supposed to get Sammy Watkins and Clyde Edwards-Helaire back for this game, right?
No,
we don't know. We don't know. I really don't think. I think Sammy.
I heard him say Clyde Edwards-Helaire would definitely play this Sunday.
The way that Angel's been talking as far as Sammy, the way he said, Sammy's been great for us this year. By him saying that, I really don't think that Sammy is going to be back this year at all.
Yeah,
all right,
and Andy. Yeah.
Question for you, Q.
You said it's the what?
A conspiracy theory question for you, because you seem to think that the NFL does what it needs to do, especially this year of COVID, to try to garner more interest. So do you see this Super Bowl being the old guard and the new guard being Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady?
Yeah, definitely. It could be that game. I would love to see that game. I'm still on the fence about Tampa Bay. Mostly because of what Steve has said earlier, and it's chemistry issues, and I feel that's been their issue all season. But
he said the same thing Sunday against the Saints. Look how that worked out.
No, definitely. Because that's again, it depends on what team shows up. And I think teams that don't click, and we could talk about the Chiefs. When the Chiefs are clicking, it doesn't matter if Patrick Mahomes is in there or not. Because the offense can still do their job, and especially in that short window of time, like for however long he played, but he didn't have to play that long to win the game. He just had to come in and do some 2 innings of relief. But still, the offense did what they needed to do to secure the game. Now, as far as scoring points, yes, they need Patrick Mahomes, obviously, but when your team is clicking like that and they're confident and they're on the same page, it's tough to beat them. And the Chiefs show that week in and week out for the past 3 years. Like, it's really tough to beat them. And even saying Patrick Mahomes in there or not, I say that because they had Alex Smith and they still went on 10-game winning streaks in the second half of the season because the team was as far as chemistry and timing, they were on the same page. Now the Bucks, Yes, Antonio Brown coming in late, he can throw off timing, especially when you have these routes where you need certain timing to get across the field and to develop certain plays. But yeah, I mean the Bucks can definitely win, but I would love to see the Chiefs against that team because they have a team of a lot of athletes that can make things happen.
All right, so before we make our picks, I will be remiss if I don't send a shout out to Dan Son for that vicious hit at the goal line that saved us 7 more points that we had to overcome, which could have also been a deciding factor to win over the Browns. Shout out to Dirty Dan Son.
So wait, we're celebrating Dirty Dan and his dirty hits, but a couple of weeks ago when he speared, no, but a couple of weeks ago when he spearheaded a guy and hit him in the hip, the guy was out for the season. So like we're celebrating these dirty hits. Like, come on, because if it was somebody spearheading Patrick Mahomes, people would be storming the White House.
Come on, cute.
Dude, Patrick Mahomes got choked out like somebody's nasty girlfriend in a porno yesterday and got taken out of the game. What are you talking about?
He shouldn't have ducked his head. You're supposed to play with your head up. Sorry.
I don't know what Patrick Mahomes did to you.
Dan Sorensen's been he's really been that. I mean, the past 2 years, he's really been that X factor, man. Oh yeah, that was a helmet to helmet hit, no doubt. But
no, that was a dirty hit.
But at that point, you got to do what you got to do to keep him out the end zone. I mean, he's trying.
Steve, I'm gonna save this clip. So the next time a dirty hit is on a Chiefs player, because I remember the dirty hits throughout this season that you guys were just so up in arms about and wanted to talk about it on Monday. And it's like, the league has to do something about this. But when it's the Chiefs, well, you got to do what you got to do to win. Like, please stay consistent.
Oh, I've been consistent. I've never said that you didn't have to do what you got to play to win the game. That's what Herm said.
When it's not on a Chiefs player.
All right, so before we end the show, we've got the conference round of the playoffs this weekend. We've got the Green Bay Packers against the Bucks in a cold Green Bay. Darren, who you got?
Tampa Bay. Got them Tampa Bay representing the NFC. Going on the road, winning 3 straight road games to get to play a home game in the Super Bowl. I got them beating the Packers 31-28.
You would take Tom Brady and the Washington Generals. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that feeling.
Well, yes. I'm sorry. Unlike some people, I like to stay consistent with my Super Bowl picks. So I'm not going to go with the Packers when the Bucks are right there at the doorstep. So
who's going with a different team?
Oh, my bad. Your team's not in it no more, Steve. My bad. I forgot.
My team is in it. They still in it.
Both of your teams aren't in there.
Well, wait a minute. If the Saints don't make it, I mean, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't make it, we in the same position, right?
That's fine. But
hey,
if that's the case, but right now, both my teams are still alive.
The battle of semantics.
Still alive.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Before we move on. Wait a minute. We lost our confidence. We lost our confidence in you when you had the Chiefs going 19-0.
They go 19-0. They go 19-0. They win the Super Bowl. They go what 17-2 or whatever, or 16-2, and they still win the Super Bowl. Still end result, still the same. Call it what you want.
It's a totally different number than Donald Trump. Okay, Q. What do you have this weekend? The Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like Green Bay at home just because of the elements. Like if the elements are there, I think those chemistry issues come out, and especially if his receivers can't catch the ball, if he can't throw, the elements may play a role in that. So I'm just gonna go with Green Bay. Even though I would love to see that Tom versus Pat in the Super Bowl, because if the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl to Tom Brady, I miss the amount of sadness from devastating playoff losses in this city. Like I miss that sadness. It's a comforting feeling.
Don't you ever call me a hater ever again in this life, all right? ever again. That's what you got this weekend with the Packers and the Bucks.
I got Green Bay, and I want to see Darren's face, like when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose. But I do have Green Bay. I feel like they're playing their best football. Aaron Rodgers is playing his best. He has a team rolling, and I don't feel like he's going to let them lose at all. The mistakes that he's made before, it's not going to happen. Green Bay all the way.
DJ Q just wants to backstroke the tears of Chiefs fans down Brush Creek. That's all he's looking for right now.
Yes, I'll drink them all.
I just remember Steve last week saying the same thing about the Saints beating the Bucks. And so, I kind of zone Steve out now because his analysis
about now you're zoning me out.
I'm just choosing about. So I want to see your face come next Sunday evening or Monday when the Bucks run wild on the Packers.
Jesus, take the wheel. That is going to do it for us on this.
We got to pick the Chiefs.
We got to pick the Chiefs. We got to pick Chiefs.
I'm assuming everybody's going with the Chiefs from what I hear.
Yes.
I don't know. I might change my mind.
Yes. No.
You're not the one. You shut up.
You shut up.
You're right.
I got Jesus on my team.
This is America's team. This is Jesus' team.
Jesus' team it is.
All right, that's going to do it for us on this Martin Luther King Day edition of the Red Hour. I hope you did something community-oriented, something peaceful today. And if not, you still got plenty of time to do it tomorrow and the rest of the week. So please be well, be beautiful, be peaceful, and don't be a hater like DJ Q. We'll see y'all next Monday right here on the Red Hour.
Peace.
Views and opinions expressed in the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundation, or affiliates.